Slitterhead, as well as being very concise instructions for a brain surgeon, is a new Japanese horror game that comes to us from the creator of the original Silent Hill, ooh, and the original Forbidden Siren, slightly more divisive, ooh. And obviously I needed to check this out. I'm always down for a new survival horror, that's why I've been nailing dead ferrets to the front door of Bear Grylls' house. But now having finished Slitterhead, I'm not sure I can recommend it to my fellow survival horror enthusiasts, it containing very little in the way of survival, or ultimately horror, making it a decisive new addition to the genre. It is a very weird game, and I like to think of myself as a champion of the weird. The weird has an important place in the world. A lot of people tell me dead ferrets are weird, and their place is the front door of Bear Grylls' house. Anyway, the premise of Slitterhead is that you are a bodiless spirit hovering around in contemporary Hong Kong who can't remember where they came from or why they're there, but they do remember that they really hate Slitterheads, which are a race of sinister monsters who possess the bodies of humans and eat their brains. So we have to counter them by possessing the bodies of humans and making them fight to the death. It's cute when we do it. Slitterhead's arrival will probably cheer up Messiah and Driver San Francisco, the only two previous noteworthy titles in the criminally underweight genre of possess-em-ups, which I think has much untapped potential as a core mechanic. It'd be great for avoiding cock-up cascades in a stealth game. You get spotted by guards, you just gleefully watch them pound the clueless twat you used to be from the safety of a nearby squirrel. But the reason why I omit survival from the survival horror label is that survival to me implies resource management, and the only resource you manage in Slitterhead is the one thing planet Earth will never be in shortage of: slack-jawed generic twats. The core gameplay is melee hack-and-slash combat, and initially I found it annoying. Enemy attacks send you flying, so it's easy to get stun-locked. There's this elaborate parry system where you can deflect one incoming attack, which is a fat lot of good when there's four of the buggers swinging their uncircumcised foreskin-like heads around. But the combat clicked when I realised that if I'm getting overwhelmed, I just hop out of my current dude, possess one on the other side of the room, and shove an uneven baseball bat made of frozen blood right up my tormentor's unsettling phallic arse. Duh, Yahtzee, the tutorial flat out tells you that newly possessed guys have a buff, and if you're not rapidly body switching, you're playing it wrong. Alright, so I'm a slow learner. Your mum never complains when she's giving me cunnilingus lessons. Shitter Toilet successfully makes the most of its core possession idea. Generally before you fight a Slitterhead, you have to chase it down, and it's very satisfying to watch them sweatily sprint away at full pelt, panting and whimpering and knocking obstacles down in their wake, not realising you've already possessed someone around the next corner, and are poised to crack him in the teeth with a stick. Finally, video games have captured the experience of being in a droopy cartoon. The other main thing you do is identify disguised Slitterheads concealed as random citizenry, and the game borrows Siren's iconic sight-jacking mechanic to help you do that. But the samey environments render it kind of pointless. Ooh, looks like the target is standing in a dark, grimy alleyway talking to a smoking man in a vest. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? .gif. Fortunately, there's also a dirty great visual effect on the screen pointing directly at the Slitterhead, so you don't need sidejacking at all, turns out. Feels like it's more here as a nostalgic callback to a no longer relevant era, much like the concept of American exceptionalism. That aside, I guess I like the core gameplay. It evokes the unbridled creativity and bold experimental spirit of the PS2 era. Shame it brought everything else from back then with it as well. Janky design choices, weird dialogue system that's only 1% voiced, and all the rest of the time characters signal communication by making weird, breathy and faintly erotic grunting sounds, and everything looking like poo. The game has a mission-based structure where you alternate between conversations with the main characters that are little more than text dumps in fancy hats, and going to one of 3 or 4 different vaguely open-ended grimy urban levels to do more of the same shit as always. Probably chase a dude, probably fight one of those big praying mantis lads, and it smacks of trying to stretch as much runtime as possible out of a very small toy box. It fails as a horror game because it's not the least bit scary. I mean, it is gory, and obviously having your body taken over and used against your will to undermine humanity is conceptually horrifying, but I'd need to have some investment in humanity for that to work, and the humanity in this game feels more akin to a fungus or a form of precipitation. Since there need to be randos around for you to possess for the core gameplay to work, every time you enter combat, some just mysteriously spawn in around the arena. You can be confronting the final boss on a lonely midnight rooftop in the rain and there'll still be 4 or 5 gormless twats milling about, like the last few gazelles who missed the stampede. The story starts out with a nice straightforward premise: Slitterhead's bad people eat brainy, ooh scary, nasty, kill them all, then introduces a time loop element to explain why we keep having to repeat the missions. Still fine, I guess, but then the plot feels increasingly like a chicken pot pie got projectile vomited at the ceiling fan. Turns out some Slitterheads are good and are trying to coexist with humanity. Oh wait, no they're not, they were pretending. Wait, yes they are, there's a good one right there. Are we the bad guys now? Let's go to a fucking parallel universe and fight ourselves, and then come back and do it again but from the other side. Bored now, plane crash, everyone dies. What the fuck are you on about, Slitterhead? The plot centers around rarities, specific characters with special upgradable superpowers we can use while possessing them, and whom we bring along on all our missions, and there are several side ones we can unlock from doing certain optional objectives. Except every now and again the plot stops dead, sits down, sticks out its lower lip like a little toddler, and goes, I'm not continuing until you find all the optional characters. Well, they're not fucking optional then, are they? And I wouldn't mind, but most of these characters proceed to have bugger all importance to the plot. It's like if the Beatles held up a songwriting session to wait for Ringo to arrive. This is exactly the kind of thing Forbidden Siren did, actually, which is a game some people seem to like, but of this game's 2 spiritual predecessors, that's the one you want to be closer to? That's like turning down a lovely slice of cake in favour of rubbing your cheek on a bathroom floor.